Hi guys, welcome to Brand X Reviews. Today I'm just going to be talking about the Bourne films on 4K, something that I've recently upgraded to. It's actually something in the last sort of 3 or 4 months that I've started getting into these 4K format films and been quite impressed, to be honest. I mean, there's been a few films that I've watched in 4K that I've kind of thought, negligible improvement, but it's quite rare, to be honest. I think most times the films have really stood out, and the Bourne films here are no exception to that. All of them look great, and so they should. I mean, that's what you expect, really. So I'd recommend getting these. Now, these are the UK region compatible ones. So as far as I'm aware, there's no actual region coding, generally speaking, for 4K films, but I'll get into that in a second. So these ones anyway in particular, let's just have a quick look. First off, from what I understand, these 4 came out to buy before the most recent one, Jason Bourne, came out on 4K, but not that much prior. Now, I do like the packaging of these. They've got a really kind of reflective look. I don't know if you kind of picture that there. You can probably see the reflection of the camera. You can sort of see there with my hand holding the thing. It's got a kind of silvery reflective surface to it. And all of them have this. But it's a bit of a shame that they didn't continue the style that these had with this one, because this one kind of stands out a bit in kind of comparison. Also, on the sides of these, you have a similar kind of theme going on with all the titles, where you'll notice the O in Bourne is a bullet hole, which is a really nice little touch. All of these have the same thing, white writing on a black background. So they look quite nice on a shelf together. Except for this one, they just sacked that off, which is really annoying. I can understand like certain collections, like we used to collect James Bond films back in the 90s, and you'd get them all, so you put them all together on the shelf, they all have the same thematic kind of style to them. But then years later, when the next film comes out, they've kind of sacked off that style from years before. This was like months before when these came out, so I don't know why they had to just kind of go with a new style. But that's one of my few gripes, to be fair. So if that's one of my few grievances I have with these, then I guess that's an endorsement of the collection as a whole. So let's get into the actual what's on the discs kind of thing. This isn't a review of the films, because obviously the films kind of speak for themselves, and I'm sure you've already seen them, so I don't really need to speak to that effect anyway. So as normal with these 4K films at the moment anyway, I don't think there's really many exceptions to this. You buy the film on 4K Blu-ray, which, let's just see the disc, that's this here. So you get this film, you need a 4K UHD player to be able to play these properly. But also, you get a digital download, which that's kind of boring to speak about. And then you get the standard Blu-ray as well. So it might be that you're not really comfortable buying this on this format, in case it becomes this generation's Betamax or HD DVD, basically, where after about a year or so you can't really use them anymore. So if anybody's got any concerns about this format kind of going the way of the dinosaurs, you'll always have your backup Blu-ray there as well, so you've not wasted your money. I don't see that happening, to be honest, but I know some people are a bit concerned about that. So you get the Blu-ray disc and you get the 4K disc as well. The special features on this are on this version. They're not on the 4K disc, and that's fairly standard, to be honest, that they do that, because they haven't put any extra features on this. You need to revert back to the old Blu-ray disc, which is fine. It's just basically like having an old 2-disc DVD like we used to get back in the days, where you'd have the film on one disc and all the extra features on one of the others. So, bear with me 1 second. So that's how all of these work, basically, even this new one in particular, Jason Bourne as well. But let's have a look at just the extra features and so on. So the Blu-ray disc that you get is the version, the Blu-ray disc that you always got, basically. So that would be this disc here. So the extra features that you can see on there, that's not all of them, obviously. It says and much more, kind of a bit vague there. So if you want to upgrade from your old Blu-rays, maybe you've got all these on Blu-ray already and you want to upgrade to this, don't worry. You can get rid of your old Blu-ray discs, because you're going to get more of them anyway here. As an extra in addition to the 4K version of the film. And it's the same for each one, basically. You can see on Bourne Supremacy what you get on there as well. Bourne Ultimatum, which came out in 2007. That was the third film. You can see what extras there are there. They're not all listed as well, like I say. But if you're familiar with the standard Blu-rays, you'll be familiar with what the extra features are. And then this one as well. So yeah, pretty good. Like I say, the certain bits in particular stood, especially the end of Jason Bourne, which I've just finished watching now. The bit at the end in Las Vegas really stood out, because I think 4K stands out in particular when you've got a dark scene, like a nighttime scene, where there's something lit up, like street lights or car headlights or fireworks in the night sky, that kind of thing. It's usually stuff like that that really stands out. So to have Las Vegas, the city of lights, at the end of Jason Bourne really stood out there. So one other thing I'd mention as well, one thing that annoys me with 4K that isn't applicable here, thankfully, is when they put director's cuts out, where you get the theatrical cut and the director's cut as well, and a lot of the time they'll fob you off and they'll put the director's cut on the standard Blu-ray and the theatrical cut on the 4K disc, so there's no kind of ultimate version to what you've got. An inferior cut of the film on 4K, which is a superior format, and then obviously the superior cut of the film on Blu-ray, which is the inferior format. So it would be nice to have the superior cut of the film on the superior format. A lot of times, like Suicide Squad, for example, or Expendables 3, they've done that and it's really annoying. So they haven't done that here. That's why I'm mentioning that, because as far as I'm aware, there are no director's cuts of these anyway, so that's not applicable. So, right, that's my review. I'm going to leave it there. I've kind of rambled on a little bit, so I hope that was informative for you. I recommend these very much so, and if you haven't checked out the new format 4K, and these films that are presented in HDR, high dynamic range, I recommend you do it if you can afford it, because it's really been enjoyable watching these films. Right, anyway, signing off. Thank you very much for watching.